Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rangru, low.
And folks, we here in Division 2 play, but we're on Orsha North. Rang, who do we have? What's going on?
On left-hand side in the blue, we have Farid playing Gruppe Harteneck Maverick Maverick income. Right-hand side in red, we have an ElBowser playing third VDV Vanguard income.
So, I mean, Harteneck, I love these guys. It's hard not to love these guys just because of all that beautiful little VK 9.01s. So, I love my little P2s. Against, of course, the VDV, tons of infantry. So, how's that going to kind of shape up between the two?
Yeah, I mean, classic VDV is, of course, infantry spam, very good CQC troops, but really focused on that CQC play. So it's going to be very important for ElBowser to try to push the battlefield towards you.
You know, and I kind of like this opening with Starstruppen, and this is probably the only use of AirSats material that I also will enjoy, and that's the AirSats MG. Because there's enough firepower, you don't have to be super duper close. Like, this is the reason to bring AirSats stuff. There should be nothing else for it.
Your reserve guys are pretty much only in a reserve line for you.
Yes, exactly. Your job is to create a machine gun barrage, and then that's it. You can see right now, they're engaging as these troops are coming forward. They're forcing dismounts before their time. Like, that's the reason to have them.
Yeah, we're seeing a very aggressive opener here from ElBowser, rushing into the town with the Ogam and Cheekies. He's getting very good positional advantage here. He's going to be able to secure out, which is, of course, very important, because that's a pretty, beefy flag sector, and he's continuing up the pressure here. I mean, Farid does have the 410, so he's getting very good visuals. I'd be curious to see whether he tries to push heavy into the town, or if he decides to put pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's the question, isn't it? I suppose the question is Farid going to be able to push this back and kind of say something to ElBowser along the lines of, "Sorry, your victory's in another castle." Like, I don't know. The opening right now has a 15-9 over here in favor of ElBowser, and I don't think on the face of it that Farid has a lot of massive resources to combat that.
No, he's taken some pretty serious casualties off the bat here up north. And of course, with ElBowser being Vanguard, he definitely wants to try to get the very early dub right now. The VK 901, though, getting some very good hits on Ogam and Cheeky. Smoke is deployed. His PTRS squad needs to get a chance in the gear to, start PTRSing out VK9.
And here's kind of funny thing. I feel like the MG opening over here, while it doesn't give you a lot of, let's say, territorial grabbing power, again, like you said, Bowser's going for the dub right now. If you can contain and at least mass forces a little bit later on, like, of course, if you remember from looking at the actual material, a ton of Hussars coming in, a ton of Jaegers with the MP44s. B phase is where, Farid, of course, is definitely trying to go and get that W himself.
Yeah, he just really needs to survive this A phase, and it's going to be about using, effective fire support units. You do have a lot of that with Harteneck. We're seeing the Stews, we're seeing the Marder Freeze, the VKs being brought in out. If he can use these fire support units effectively, he can really dislodge all of ElBowser's rather CQC infantry.
But what he can't do is he's not really doing anything about this edgelord push down the south. There's not Niki, some with Viki, some with rocks, some with just tons and tons of grenades, and some actual officer support over here as well. Going to slip in behind, pick up at least one flag, and at the moment, the VK is not going to see them. He might see one squad. T-34 isn't going to see him. And there's no infantry here for it either. We have one Jaeger squad who's going to run into this and just be like, wait a second, I didn't sign up for this. And he's going to get absolutely rocked.
Yeah, I very much like his push here. He has a good concentration of firepower, especially the leader, playing it like a platoon. But also, he's not going to be playing to Farid's terrain here. If he was to be, attacking through the front, he would just get blapped. But by hooking around the side, playing in the forest, well, that's a bit more better for the VDV, where they can spam all the SMGs.
Oh, and actually, by the way, the U2s coming on in, and they're in a place called Vertigo. Like, they're just dropping bombs on those Hussars down there, and it's not heavy. They're basically throwing those bombs out the side window, but it's still enough to kill people. So not too shabby there.
I've also seen the Valentine Market Line being brought on in for some rather ineffective fire support. It seems that for the southern side, ElBowser's just looking to surround his position and probably just hit it from both sides.
Curiously, though, this has gone and really depleted what he's been utilizing as resources in the north. You can see right now he's lost the town.
Oh yeah.
Let's not pretend that it's not nothing. He still has a 120 mil. That's starting to kind of put a lot of pressure on it, but it's back to a 12-12.
Yeah, he's lost some of that positional advantage, but he still has that very important foothold into the town. And he does have some fire support backing him up with the Valentine and whatnot. And also he's got a decent amount of recon planes giving him some coverage. So he does have time to still get reinforcements into that town and try to hold it. It's just in the center he's starting to take some big L's as the SHMGs and Hussars push on through that open, empty space.
Kind of funny just now, actually seeing the IL-2 rocket plane come on in from the consequence of just taking out that martyr. I get why. At the same time, it's amusingly kind of... I would say it's a bit of an overinvestment. Especially with 45 mils, that's more than enough. I'm not really sure I would have gone and spent that much resource on an anti-tank plane, which, for the moment, I really don't need.
I think it's more just you get it out early, you can definitely utilize it. If you buy anti-tank planes sooner, you can do more runs with it, so you get more value out of them. And also, yeah, right now, especially in a safe phase, there's not a whole lot of anti-air, so you can definitely exploit that advantage.
Yes and no. I mean, there's a flak track as well as the attached 20 mils on that, so
It's only a flak track.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think it's one of those moments that, especially with how slow these biplanes are going to be, again, just let's have a quick look at their speed again. Yeah, 135 kilometers an hour.
Oh yeah, U2's not going to do great.
Yeah.
But he's got a hold of him.
Yeah. And that's the question, isn't it? So they're going to be coming on in. Yep, they're going to get some recon. That's great. It's wonderful. I still don't think it's maybe the most...
I think it's more just trying to bomb slowly, surely. He's just trying to pretty much pinch his southern position here, getting a very good hit. It's just about whether you have the infantry to push on through, because that T-34 is, and yeah, Marder as well, it's kind of the catalyst of that position, and he doesn't have any anti-tank to deal with it.
Fair. I don't really want my biplanes to be reliving Star Wars 30 years ahead of time, where it's like stay on target. It's like, oh my god, there's so much ground fire. Like it's just I don't know. I get it. You're right. I feel like it's one of those moments that there could be a better utilization of resources right now. 410 in the meantime, come back the other direction. He's just getting eyes on that 120. Of course, Harteneck does have the potential to bring in some really strong artillery, but they're really not into that kind of mode to really afford that here and now.
Yeah, you got those all-important mortar half-tracks and some decent off-map. It just seems both sides are still playing very much the positional game. I do like how with Harteneck, Farid has been able to try to maneuver a little bit into the southern town. He does have a decent base of fire support for the Ursat MGs and Stu. He's just having a hard time getting a foothold in there because the Descent keys with those DTs are pretty deadly.
That's true, but the Hussars are no slouches either. Again, the FEG-31Ms, 13 of those things are really pretty strong.
Yeah, pretty fast firing. He has managed to get his troops into here. I think it's definitely a very good play here for Farid and bringing in some Jaeger Pioneers as well. If he can get a foothold into his town, he's just trying to relieve pressure of these other fronts. And he's doing a decent job also just holding on to that southern side. This maneuver hasn't really gone really to ElBowser's favor. He has an ability to, hit on both sides of that push, but he just doesn't have the anti-tank.
Yes, this is very, very true. And honestly, we actually are starting to see a couple of 76-2s being brought in over here by Farid. That secular Iranian over here, he's really quite able, I would say, to start getting that gun line down. And IL-2 coming in, probably going to pick the T-34? Yes, he does.
Very good pick here. Still needs to deal with that Marder 3 and VK. Too bad he doesn't have, honestly, in this northern hill here, being able to sneak, or southern hill, my bad, being able to sneak a 45mm into that position would probably work quite well in ambushing those tanks.
The flying brick is trailing smoke. I'm not going to say the 20 was going to take it out, but that is a surprising amount of damage. I legitimately thought there was a half a chance there for a second. T-34 going down is a linchpin for quite a bit of some issues, let's call it there.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the track of hit they're going to do Fuhrer, that's desperate to try to keep the right to Jaeger and this P2 from being overrun.
Down south, we got Stosstrooper trying to ambush the T-34s. Molotovs in real life might have a chance, but it's a steel division. It's just going to, well, you're just ruining a good drink.
Exactly. What a shame he doesn't have a breadbasket to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Flak track in the meantime engaging, biplane. Nothing happening there. Northern side, flak track starting to get used here again. Biplanes galore. Northern, actually, and even more so. Northern, we haven't seen a whole lot going on here. Most of these guys just kind of chilling.
Yeah, ElBowser's really lost that momentum up north as we're seeing Farid, bringing decent amount of fire support and is slowly grinding down his position. And we're now into B phase. ElBowser has got a pretty good points advantage, but the income advantage is where he really starts to get screwed. So this is going to be a pretty critical period here for Farid to make some counterattacks, take some ground, and try to swing it heavy in the other direction.
1HE-111 is going to be coming on in here to pick up the infantry in the south. No going to T-34s, which actually I think I agree with that change in targeting. Martyr went down to a beautiful little snipey-do by one of those T-34s, and the HE-111 is now, for some reason, just deciding to bomb the trees. My friend, the Lorax can be quite pissed off at you.
Indeed. Is he landing behind the T-34s? Gets a decent direct hit, but of course not enough to get any substantial kills. Might be enough for suppression to matter as this other T-34 to make things confusing tries to rush on up.
Yeah, and when you're Russian on Russian, that's kind of a problem. I'm sure at the end of the day, the thought here would be no Russian as much as possible. Martyr, in the meantime, he should be able to get that first shot off. That's going to be a very important shot. That's a kill. The T-34, that goes down, then there might be a chance of stabilizing down here to the south, but it is still 13-11, and Farid is sitting on about half the tickets he had previously.
Yep, and we're seeing a big counterattack here from ElBowser down south. He's moving infantry through the lower northern forest area. As well, he still has, that T-34 down south. So if he can also maneuver his infantry, or I'd say, I don't even have anti-tank. It is actually a bit lame. He's gonna have a bit of a hard time, yeah. Oh, once again, that's 45 mil down south would definitely be a good call.
Seeing that the biplane has a weapons jam, which is kind of amusing to me.
It's like that one, the machine gun on the back, 20 mil shell just hits it, bends the barrel. It's like, guess we can't shoot it, Dimitri, get the hammer.
Well, at that point, to me, actually, up to the northern side, the Sturmoviki Rocks has gotten quite frisky with the Desantniki Maxim and behind that. But no, I was thinking more along the lines of a shell fragment comes in, takes a guy's pistols, we have no guns now. It's just like, that's that. But back to a 12-12, as Farid is certainly pouring in his own resources. As long as he can keep that longhouse over here kind of in control, which he should be able to with the right to Jaeger with the MP44, this should be enough.
Yeah, the Sturmoviki's up north, making decent progress, but they're not going to be able to make anything substantial unless there's actually a whole lot of reinforcements. Oh! Like the northern central hill position, we got 3 Sturmovikis and off-map artillery. We have a huge build-up of forces here. It does seem like ElBowser's going to try for round 2 in the northern town.
And he's going to be able to get that, too. Again, that's a 132. So the 132 may not seem like the biggest kabooms for right now. And indeed, you can see maybe...
Oh, it's going to be smoke.
Yeah, but I mean, biggest kabooms at the same time. Booms are booms. That's the important part. What I was going to say, though, is that you're seeing right now, I think he's going to use that to just maybe deploy in the central position to give himself a time to set up a scratch defense, because he's lost a number of flags.
Yeah, and we're seeing also a big counterattack here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even call it a counterattack, more like an initial attack up north, as Farid is going to try to go up the hill. So that's actually going to really screw up ElBowser's time in here for that northern town push, as he's not going to be able to get to the town. He's going to have to fight to defend his hill first.
And that's kind of what I mean. For me, in my mind, I don't want to go just have the ZIS-2, this Su-76, a mortar, and an anti-aircraft gun. to me, I'm going to drop smoke and make them really freak out. Gives me time to put my anti-tank material up to the edge of the forest. Gives me time to put the rest of the Descent Nikis into place. And you can see him right now. He's got 6 squads moving in.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of troops here. Does kill the T-34. He's starting to do some initial mortar damage. Yeah, the Hussars, they're going to get mowed down, that's for sure. But if you keep him alive long enough, it should be enough to stall this push for him to get some more reinforcements here. But we're also seeing in the center, I'd say a little bit of a push. He does have a Tiger and the Stuya. I mean, once again, we never really see people push in the center. But for Farid, it would really be to his advantage. He is the long-range division, and he wants to try to exploit that by using his long-range tanks to blow up the less efficient tanks at long range.
So look down south, for example. This is the use of smoke that I'd be envisioning from the 132s. Now, yes, this is a mortar smoke. This is a little bit different here. And you can see a P3N kind of being just artsy-fartsy, kind of moving his way on in, and he could get picked up any single time they want to.
Yeah, one Destiny can get a bit too close here. I don't think he's going to have enough troops to really make anything substantial happen here down south of his push. No. He has not been able to get them close enough to actually use those AT grenades.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen here either. He might take the T-34.
Oh, yeah, he does. The forcing the modern... Actually, never mind. He's managing to force Farid to fall back in. That's going to give him time to garrison the opposite forest as well as that farm complex.
Well, let's not fool ourselves. It doesn't mean that all is good in Graceland here, because P3N with that nice 75 short barrel, actually 2 of them, engaged in Descent Nikki DTs. And while there's a Descent Nikki behind, and he might be able to get some like really sneaky beaky kind of movement, Flat Track is still there, as is the quad mount. So that guy picks his head out, he's going to get absolutely obliterated. Watch this in a second. He's going to show his face. Oh, come on. Don't casters curse me here. Okay, at the 410.
He's casters cursing you.
410, here we go.
Panzer Freeze is going right down the road. Fortunately, not a whole lot of anti-tank here to stop it as well. Farid doing the counterattack all the way along the edge, with the Reuterjäger going to be picking up a flag here. So it definitely seems that ElBowser in the southern post has overextended a bit, and Farid is starting to trade more effectively. He's bringing out the big booms, and he also has a lot of armor on the field, which has been a big issue for ElBowser to deal with.
Very much so. So P3 in the meantime is going to go and put a lot of supportive fire down. Is there really anything down here from anti-tank? No. There's nothing. There is, at long last, a 45 mil being brought on in, but a Russian door knocker does not a defense make.
Yeah, he needs a bit more now right now. He's just been completely butchered down south. If we look up north, I believe the off-map artillery has fired some smoke, and there's some decent smoke, and we are going to see his push. That's a big push. It's going to be, I think, pretty critical whether it succeeds or not.
But the funny thing is the AirSats MG is forcing a lot of dismounts, and these guys are out in the open. And two trucks are already down. At least one more is going to get blown apart. So there's going to be a lot of losses here.
Yeah, and they're going to be caught out in the open. Some of the dudes are making it through, but by God, this is an absolute ambush.
This isn't worth it. They're going to take out a 176-2. That's great, but like, look at the rather optimistic dismounts that some of them are having.
He's going the distance.
Yeah, he's going for speed, but I don't think that's going to be what he's looking for in his hour of need on this, my friend. And even the ones that have been pinned, look at them. They're all pinned. They are all pinned. HE-111 came on in. They are pinned. The push is dead.
Yeah, that's a shame. Because he had smoke, but he just didn't have enough smoke. Because the problem with that push, it's just an open field. You need like the entire field just smoked, because there's still lines of sight for his machine guns to just blap the infantry, and without any other like long-range fire support to back up his infantry, you just see they get dismounted and they get blapped.
So the one thing he was super lucky about though here, two things are kind of funny. One is Farid has this one tank that's this Tiger, so up at this Nikki, who's falling back, who fell back to the west, and has now recovered his wits, 150 meters away from the Tiger. The second thing he was supremely lucky with, other than this IL-2 making an unobstructed rocket run, is, yeah, the Hussar was getting forced back as well. Because of all of his troops getting just absolutely suppressed like crazy, he might have lost something like, 7 squads conservatively? That would have been quite the coup to have, over 100 points being picked off in less than 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, and as you see, it's really kind of killed his chances in, especially retaking up north. And just look at the flag difference, it's 6 to 18. Farid is just treated extremely efficient now, and is just pushing all over.
I am interested to see if this Tiger gets taken out. I don't think he's going to. In this particular case, there's just enough flak coverage. Yeah, there we go. Quad mount does help out quite a bit.
Yeah.
BF-109, unfortunately, this guy over here is, in my mind, very underpowered for what he could or should be having. So, he's not going to get remotely close to that IL-2. Doesn't need to.
Nope.
So, checking about, we are also going to be seeing just these VK9s coming on in. Oh, yep, there we go. There was a tap.
Yeah, it's a tap out.
Tap. Makes sense, though.
And, okay, really not that. I was expecting a bit more of a crazy KD difference, but also at the same time, a lot of the first VDV stuff, especially infantry, is quite cheap. But, good job for Farid for surviving at A phase and trading out into B.
Now, I'm not going to say I'm wrong, because heaven forbid I do that on a cast. But I am going to say the heroes of this, in my mind, are actually the Airsats MGs.
Yeah, especially in that final push.
Yes.
Like being able to hold back those troops, and once again, just that long-range firepower advantage of going up against VDV, especially on Orsha North, where apart from the 2 major edgelord flanks, it's hard to really utilize only SMG troops and pushes.
Exactly. But you know what? I like games that do this. First of all, it's not just the Maverick income play constantly. It's a Vanguard, which is on one side, we get some Mavericks on the other. It's kind of nice. You get a bit of a nice blend to it. And even when we have long range, we actually also had some play to kind of counter that too.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the 132 would have been a little bit better for me. Is dropping it early, drop a second one on top of that, use it almost like a crawling smoke barrage. I think that actually might have been enough to get him ahead.
Yeah, you, like I said, in that northern push, you need an ungodly amount of smoke to make it through. And I think if he was to getting close into that town, he would have been able to clear it, whether he could hold it, because it once again comes down to fire support. That's a bit of the issue with third VDV.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that long-range kaboom.
Exactly. But regardless, any final thoughts there, sir? Any more pearls of wisdom for us to kind of unearth?
No.
Well, folks, in that case then, until next time, I'm Con Olberg.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.